Welcome to the Your Little Castle show, where we help you turn your home into your little castle. I mean, that's an important part of life on this planet, is to have a nice, safe place to live. And no better person to talk to about protecting the house than Sean Gaffney here from ACI Exteriors. Sean, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me today.
Well, I'll tell you, I've known you for some time now. Cardinal fan, baseball fan. I don't know where we met originally, but I mean, I meet a lot of people at those fun festivities, and I love what you do in the community. But I really got to understand your business, because roofing, everybody thinks, okay, it's just a roofing company. When you get into what roofing really is, I mean, oh gosh, if you have a bad or failing roof, you can deteriorate the whole value of your entire house, right?
Correct.
And rain and everything. So talk to everybody a little bit. What is it? Why did you decide to get into the roofing business?
Yeah. Well, I was in the Marine Corps back in the day, years ago.
Yeah. Thank you for your service.
No problem. But one of my buddies that I grew up with, I went to the Marine Corps with, was actually chasing hailstorms all over the country. And I thought, it's kind of different, you know. And
right.
And actually, my parents said, "Nah, don't do that. That's kind of, that's a little tough, chasing storms." And then I heard he was door knocking too. And I told my parents the same thing. He was door knocking. They said, "Oh, don't do that. That's, And I finally said, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on it. I was in the restaurant business. I was managing several restaurants, and it wasn't my cup of tea. So I said, let me try sales. From there, got into working with my buddy that was in the Marine Corps with. So I got into it, started doing it, and then eventually learned the trade and opened up my own business. And then my parents started seeing how much I was making, and they were like, "Whoa, that was a good decision, Sean." So what I like about the roofing business is it's helping people out. I mean, it's people, that your basic. I mean, your home is your everything, especially with COVID now. I mean, people realize that that's kind of your safe haven, really, the place to be at. So anyways, it's just a nice thing to, once you put a roof on somebody's house and you do the job the right way, you clean everything up, nails, everything. People they're appreciative of it, and it adds a lot of value to the home, and it just makes the whole makeup of the house looks that much better.
Well,
so,
and you're more than the roof. You're the exteriors, so that you've got soffit, fascia, gutters. I know you could even do some siding. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's the whole exterior that protects the house.
Correct.
And you know how all those pieces. We recently went over to look at a property, because I said, let me film you doing your job, and you took the time to look at the gutters, to look at the siding, to look at the windows, to look at the roof, to look at the fascia. People don't know what fascia is, but essentially it's up underneath. It protects the gap between where the roof overlays and the gap there, right? And how those all interact and interplay, because gutters don't work, then water goes off the roof but into the side of the house potentially.
Right.
I mean, there's a whole lot you do to protect the house as a whole.
Correct.
And that's why you're doing you're at the exteriors, not just one piece. You do the whole thing, right?
Right.
Does that all work together, obviously?
Yeah, that all works together. I mean, I do a lot of insurance-related work. I mean, St. Louis has we've had so many hailstorms, and even if it was the smallest amount of hail, I mean, sometimes we'll get a hailstorm that will be pea-sized hail, but if it's driven with enough wind, it will force some of those granules to come off. So over the years, you figure with the small hail and penny hail, and then sometimes you get the nickel hail. I mean, that's all it takes in the St. Louis area to really take the life out of that roof. So we do a lot of insurance-related work, and of course, we're coming up to the hail season coming up now, and this is really, come March is when they call the hail season starts up.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people that have had roofs in the area that they don't even realize they have hail damage on their house. So we can come out and give a free inspection to them and see if it qualifies for the insurance company to take care of it for them. So.
Well, it was interesting, because the particular place we were at, I had a connection there that was like, let's talk to a few different people, and you showed up at the same time. Another guy showed up, great guy, but the approach was different. I won't talk about what they did or didn't do, but what you did do was you went up on the roof. And I had a discussion with the customer later, and I said, the other guys, that was one piece that I thought was instrumental, and because you went on the roof, you saw the difference between one side of the roof versus the other. You talked about the different damage that you could see on one side that wasn't on the other.
Correct.
And I mean, that's a big difference. And that's why I say it seems like, I don't want to overstate, but I know your reputation in town. I know you've been around for 20 years.
Correct.
And for people to stick around with the highest ratings that you have, the highest reviews that you have, and the reputation you have, that's a game changer for most people. Because how many times there's what they call them storm chasers, you talked about, and they say, oh, big storm in St. Louis, and all these guys come in from out of town because there's money to be made, and then you got a problem with your roof 6 months, a year, 5 years later when it's still under warranty supposedly, right? And those guys are long gone.
Right.
Not the case here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've been here in St. Louis for over 20 years now. So, and then we've got that status of being what they call a master elite.
Yes.
And the master elite is basically, GAF is the largest manufacturer in the U.S. And then you have people who are certified, and what you have another one is called a master elite, which is the highest level you can be at. And only 3% of roofing contractors in the nation reach that status, which means that you have to they have tough qualifications to get into that master elite. There's a long waiting line on that to get in there too as well. But there's qualifications that you have to pass. They have field reps that will come out periodically, check on your work to make sure everything is being done. And back in the day, it used to be just, 2 men in a truck would come up to your house and, would basically do the roof, and it would be just shingles, nails. And now, with all these manufacturers, especially GAF being the innovators, they've come up with this thing called the roofing system. And what the roofing system is, that's actually putting synthetic felt. Before they used to use a paper felt. Now what we use is a synthetic felt as far as the underlayment goes. And then we'll also put ice and water shield on the eaves and also in the valleys too. And the eaves part just came up within the last 5 years, maybe because we've been having so much ice and snow that's been affecting some of these roofs. So now we're putting ice and water shield in the eaves, and we've even gotten the insurance companies to make sure they pay for that. And before in the St. Louis area, no one ever had ice and water shield, so we've actually changed a lot of the requirements in the St. Louis area because of the other roofers that we've gotten on board with as far as with the insurance companies and all.
And I remember a few years ago, he said, I run my own company for many years, and I'm like, you said, Carter, you're a good guy, people trust you. Would you help me with the roofing? Well, I've got so many jobs here with a big storm, and I came in, and I had been very well informed about because we've worked together, just some marketing for you, et cetera. And then I really got to understand what goes into the roof. And it's not so much that the whole roof fails, right? It can be just one piece, one component. These things now you're saying they upgrade now, and when that little corner fails, water comes into the house and causes all kinds of other damage.
Right.
And then you're looking at, is it going to be covered? Or was it something you shouldn't have? We're going to have a guy who knows how to deal with the insurance companies like you do. Talk about that. I mean, that's what people need to understand. They're like, no, my roof looks great.
Right.
I don't feel any water dripping in my lap when I'm sitting in the living room watching TV, so it must be okay.
Right.
Yeah,
there's more that comes into just, like I said, back in the day, shingles and nails. Now we've gotten to the point now where it's, like I said, it's the ice and water shield because of the ice damming. It's also the ventilation too. Back in the day, they had no ventilation on any of these houses in St. Louis when these guys built these houses. They had no codes. They were just like, all right, slap the shingles on there with no ventilation. Well, now if you look around the St. Louis area, you see what they call a ridge vent. I'm not sure if you can look in this picture right here. Right on the top part of the peak there. You see that peak right there?
Right. Oh, up here, you're talking about that? Right.
The thing that sits on the spine of the roof, that's called a ridge vent. And that's the best ventilation system. It's a passive vent. But that's, once again, that's one of the requirements as far as the master elite, as far as when you do a whole roofing system. That's what you have to have. You have to have the ventilation, the ice and water shield. You have to have 6 nails per shingle. And whenever I do all this, I get better warranties. Actually, my warranty, compared to my competition, my warranty is actually backed up by a $1 billion company with GAF, who was the largest manufacturer in the U.S., which that's peace of mind. If I ever hit the lottery or something happened to me, it's nice knowing that, you have a $1 billion company backing you up with that part of it.
Well, it adds to the resale value. It adds to just your investment. I mean, there's so many people that just throw the roof on there, get the cheapest. We talk about this in other segments. Cheap, my dad would always say, cheap gets very expensive.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
if you're cutting corners, you're saving $300, $1,000, $500. Somebody give you a bigger deal, $2,000, whatever, and then you're paying for that roof
Right.
6 years later again because it wasn't done right.
Right. Yeah. It's the old saying, you pay for what you get, you know. So that's how it is. But no, when we do it, like I said, it's the whole roofing system backed up by a billion-dollar company. And then you got peace of mind. And that warranty is also transferable to the next homeowner. So that's kind of nice. Or if you want to transfer it to your kids.
It looks like you've got a ton of reviews out here that really separate you from everybody. Your average is like 4.9 or something.
Yeah, 4.9, which would make me an A+. If I was in school right now, I would be an A+ as far as on my report card, you know?
And those are just some of the reviews you've got on your site. You've got the BBB, your A+. When it all boils down to it, that's why I say we want to have the best companies on the planet. But if you want to have your whole exterior covered, ACI exteriors,
Correct.
will do the job 20 years. That Master Elite, I mean, a lot of people don't understand what that really means, but there are only 3% of the companies out there that are Master Elite that get that qualification. That means the other 97% of guys out there are not that. And there's only a handful of those in St. Louis. You've been here the longest.
Right. We've got the longest tenure as far as a Master Elite. And then with a 4.9 rating as far as the Better Business Bureau, I mean, with the reviews with Home Advisor, Angie's leads as well, a 4.9 with them. With GAF, as far as their ratings, we're 4.9 with them as well. So with all that, like I said, you know, being the fact that we're the oldest Master Elite with those kind of reviews, with the largest manufacturer, there's not another company in there that can boast what I can boast.
Tell me a story of a situation you had with a client where they really didn't realize what was going on, and you were able to help them and explain to them, hey, this is a bigger issue than you may realize.
Right. Well, most of the time, what most people don't realize is they have hail damage. That's the biggest thing. You know, sometimes I'll get on the roof, and I'm just doing a regular retail job, and I get up there, I look at the roof, and like I told you before, the roofs in the St. Louis area, almost probably 75% of them have to be replaced if they're 15 years or older in the St. Louis area, and it's going to have actually hail damage or wind damage to them. So what people enjoy the most is when I go up there and they're thinking they're going to be paying retail, but it ends up turning into an insurance claim, and the only thing they're paying out is their deductible. And when that happens, it's a win-win for both of us really, because they're appreciative that I've gotten that roof bought by the insurance company.
So you had multiple situations where somebody was like, about time for a new roof. I can tell some things are going on. They didn't realize it should have been covered by insurance because you've got software. We're going to do another show here exclusively talking about how hail damage happens and why St. Louis is kind of a center for a lot of that storm activity. And you've got mapping software that shows where all this has happened and who's been affected and who hasn't. That I'm like, wow, now you're really on top of the ball to figure out whose exterior does, and they're going, no, my house is fine.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the deal, though.
There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Excitement you get to learn from experts are here. If your exterior of your house needs help, ACI Exteriors, right here on the Your Little Castle Show. Thank you for tuning in to the Your Little Castle Show. Well, everybody, we take special time to highlight some leaders with special expos. We can put a short little video together to help really demonstrate and show some of the experts we've got in our community. So we got Wilbert Tilson in studio here. Wilbert is an expert, and we wanted to highlight because contracting is a broad field. He's got a special niche to it. Yeah. Roofing, great job, incredible work. We're going to show you a little bit of the stuff he does for roofing that is really looks great. As you can see, some of his work up here. Dynamite, and his website you got behind us. But he's a specialist in tuckpointing too. Some of the work he's got, to see the house, you see this house, there you go. Who wants a house to look like that? So Wilbert, I want you to tell everybody quickly, why did you decide to get into this? This is a pretty neat industry, and especially the tuckpointing point, it's kind of novel, and roofing is so important.
Yeah. Since I was a kid, I worked with my father as I was growing up, and it was just inspiration to me. When I was younger, I used to draw houses on paper, and as I grew older, I said, this is what I want to do. I want to remodel and build houses.
Well, and when you're a kid and you make that kind of a decision, that's a tall task.
Yes, it is.
But somebody that's done it for as long as you have now. You talked a little bit about how long you've been doing this now?
I've been doing this now for over 25 years.
25 years experience. Wilbert looks relatively young. He told me how old he is. I'm not going to say his age, but you're looking great. Keep up the good work. Working hard, doing good things keeps you young, I guess.
Yeah.
What would you say what's your passion? What's one thing that really sets you apart? If you had to say, you know what, the thing that really has allowed me to love what I'm doing and make a difference and really do it better than anybody else, what would you say that is?
Well, my passion is to pretty much, get jobs from clients, from homeowners. But my most thing I like is when I finish the job, the quality. My slogan is quality is everything. So I like to give clients the quality work that they are looking for at a reasonable price that they can afford. And I love seeing a smile on their face when I'm done.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, here's your good-looking website, lots of stuff that you've done, tuck pointing, roofing, and when you get down to this, you can always tell a house that has not been tuck pointed or that was tuck pointed or bricked not well because it stands out. Mm-hmm. And just knowing the quality of work that you do, it's really exciting. When that's why I asked Dawn to reach out to you, is because as somebody who's a tuck pointer, that's kind of a novel piece. There's hard to find good tuck pointers.
Yes, it is.
And when you combine that with a guy who can do the roof and the tuck pointing, now you get all the exterior of the house looking dynamite.
That's correct.
Is that kind of your passion? You really just love being able to make this house look beautiful from top to bottom.
Exactly. That's my passion. I like to come and see how the house looked before, and I love to see how it look after.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to do anything these days, the before and after pictures, which we'll take a look at some of these, everybody. They're on this website. You can see some of his work. He's got a gallery they're working on to put together that has dynamite looking work. And I mean, Mr. Tilson, as I know some of your customers call you, it is really exciting to see somebody who does such quality work. And ladies and gentlemen, take a look at that when you get out. There's Tilson Enterprise LLC.net. There it is, and it is up on the screen there for everybody to see too. So check that out, Tilson Enterprise LLC.net. Great information, a lot of fun work that you get to do. And I tell you, when you've got the passion you've got and the hard work ethic and the longevity you've had for doing this for so long, you know you're going to get a good quality product and service.
And that's what we aim to put out, good work.
There it is, everybody. Stay tuned. You're enjoying the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is exciting to be in the revamped Your Little Castle studio. We're always doing innovative, creative things to try to make the world a little bit more fun. And knowing Ed Callison's background, you're all about making the world just a better place in a professional world, and you do some fun stuff in the community. But we're here to talk today with Ed about what he does to impact our community with regard to making sure that when there's a big, tough, difficult situation in somebody's life, that you've got everything taken care of. Is that a fair way to kind of summarize?
That's exactly right, Carter. And first off, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, it was my pleasure.
Yeah, our business is helping people help them and their families, and on the worst day of their families' lives. We're in the final expense market, which is final expense whole life insurance. Families don't want to leave a burden on their family in the event that someone passes away, because it can be very hard on a family not to have the funds to take care of funeral, burial, cremation, whatever they might wish for.
Well, and I can tell from personal experience, I'm at that age now where we lose loved ones, and it is a difficult, tough situation for a lot of people, and you don't want to have somebody left going, you left me with more problems, right?
Absolutely.
And they didn't do it intentionally, but they just weren't thinking ahead.
And we've all been there in these situations. I know my own family, we've lost loved ones that didn't have the coverage, and pass a hat or just chip in money just to put them away.
Well, and that's what we'll talk a little bit about as it is a critical. A lot of people may have noticed I was at one point a licensed life insurance agent, and I just realized how important that was, and I got to help a lot of families. A bunch of changes in my life, my career, and I really got into what I do here. But man, I look at what you're doing, I'm like, man, maybe I should have stuck with that, because it's such a cool thing you get to do to help people.
Been doing it a long time.
Well, tell me this. What was the path that led you here? When you decided, when did you decide this is where I want to be in my career, my life?
Sure.
What you want to do?
I've always been in sales. Back, in my 20s, I was selling clothes and selling cars at one time, and I had a friend selling life insurance back. I was around 25 years old, and I met up with him. Told me what I needed to do to get licensed, to get my life license to be able to sell. And started to work with them, and it was was a change for me because I was always used to something more. You sell a car, it's something people drive, right? You sell clothes, they wear it. This is different because this is something that's going to be for the family down the road, not necessarily for the client, but for the family when they're gone. So did well with that for quite a while with one company, and then mid-90s, I started looking around to start my own thing, and started selling with another company doing final expense. And about 6 years into that, I had Lincoln Heritage, the company we represent, which is our main carrier, and they contacted me, wanted to meet up and talk about an opportunity of building a group here in the Midwest. And 2000 is when I actually came and started my own group here in the state of Missouri, which we cover other states as well. Kansas, Missouri are our main states, but we're a 5-state group. Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. And it was a business when we started. My wife Nanette works with me. She handles a lot of the leads that we get to the agents to make sure they have people to see. And we've got a few other people that work in our group, and we were able to really start helping people, helping agents to find a home, a place that they could, reach out and call these people that had contacted the company about getting coverage in place. Because as you said at the beginning, it's very important to have that coverage in place.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like I said, I've personally witnessed on the bet, the good end from the difficult situation where somebody literally they had nothing and they had to go.
Sure.
We can't even cover the funeral. I mean, we can't even cover the burial for somebody we love very dearly. To wow, they actually helped to supplement and provide for like the income that was lost from that person who was an earner.
That's right.
It was providing for the house and everything to go on.
Absolutely.
So there's so much of that a lot of people don't realize there. Well, tell me, here you are at this particular point in your career. When did you decide to where you're at to take it where you're headed right now? And there's a couple things we'll talk about and follow up with that. But where's it going right now?
Sure. And we're always looking for good agents, managers, especially here in the Midwest area. And what I'd like to just share with you and share with the audience is the fact that the opportunity we offer is a very lucrative opportunity. Number one, first year income, you can earn 50, 60 or more thousand per year. Second year, even more, because it's a residual income. It keeps paying on the back end, and then naturally into your third, fourth year, you can be well into a 6-figure income. We're looking for people that are hungry, that are tired of the same job position maybe they have, maybe a 9 to 5, an opportunity, maybe a work from home, work from your home to the client's home, work on the phone. We can do it on the phone, or we can do the sales face to face. People that are hungry, that are looking to make a better income, that aren't happy in their current positions. And there's a lot of people out there like that.
Yeah, well, that kind of an income early on in somebody's career, that quickly to that point. I mean, I know what the average American income, that's dang near double, right?
Sure.
For what we see in America. There's people obviously make quite a bit more than that, but when you get down to something that's so tangible, something that people need, somewhere you can get the expert training that I know that you guys offer, because that's critical to the success. It really becomes kind of a no-brainer for a lot of people. That's why I tell my personal story, but when Anheuser-Busch was coming and the InBev takeover was coming, I had kind of a heads up to that, and I started looking at other opportunities, and that's when I got my license for doing this. And it literally is such an incredible opportunity that I just really need to see somebody like yourself that's saying, hey, I'm willing to help other people get into a new career and be the one that trains them and show them a path to make some good income and help people.
Absolutely. And the first step really is for them to study, to take that test. Life only is all you need, and the state test in the state of Missouri is just $39. There's an online study, or you can do a class study, whichever, just to prep you for the test. But once you've got that test passed, you're ready to be trained. We're fully trained. We got an office right here in Creve Coeur in St. Louis, Missouri, and we'll get them up and running.
Well, that's good to hear, because as somebody who did pass that test, it's not terribly difficult, but it's not easy.
Some people don't pass it the first time.
Yeah, well, that's kind of that's what happened with me. I took it and didn't pass because I like to take the test, see how hard it is first.
Sure.
And then when I took it, then the second time I got it. But yeah, it was a pretty quick process. I think I got done in about a month altogether, maybe less.
Yeah.
You can do it less than that if you.
Yeah, the study actually stays up for 2 months. if you're doing the study online. So if you don't pass it, you can go right back to your material, study again, and retest. You pay to retest, but again, it's only $39.
Yeah, $39. That's no brainer for what it gives you the opportunity. And it's good there is a test and a license necessary for this,
Yes.
so that not just anybody can go out there. Hey, I've got.
That's right.
That's really important for people
That's
to
right.
understand too.
That is.
Well, tell me a little bit also with regard to this. What kind of people is it you really like to work with? I mean, who is it you're looking at as somebody to say that's the kind of person we want? Because you don't want everybody, but you want the people that are going to fit best for what you're doing.
Sure. Well, first off, people with people skills that have some social skills, because we're talking with people we don't know, whether it's on the phone or whether they've sent a card in. We go to their home, so they've got to be able to get along well with people and be professional. As I said earlier, be hungry to make a great income, but have a big heart to be able to help people, because that's what we're doing. People put this sort of thing off. It's an intangible, Carter, and people will put this off until an agent comes in and makes them realize, listen, let's take care of this today. You're in good health. I'm here. Let's take care of this. And we help them in the training to understand how to do that.
Well, important stuff again as people try to get into a new career, to have such a good leadership and guidance for that. Tell me, what kind of a career can someone expect from your company and,
Sure.
and what you
Well,
offer?
as an agent, they can be a career agent and make a great income, as I said earlier, 50, 60 first year, and then more as the residuals come in. But if they want to be a team leader, to train as a manager, to help others, basically to duplicate themselves, they're able to come in and get an override and build a team of their own right here in the state of Missouri.
Well, very important stuff, obviously, for longevity. When people get into something, they don't necessarily want to start off and say, well, I want to start off with this thing, and I hope it lasts a couple of weeks. This is a big decision. You're putting a lot of time in, and it could be a great career. They want to work at it.
This isn't for everyone. Listen, sales, especially 1099, is commission only. It's not a salary job. Salary job, as you said earlier, 35, 40. I mean, what do people make? Unless they're doctors, lawyers, or, some sort of educated business that they could do and make this kind of money. There's not a lot of opportunities other than sales, and especially final expense life sales.
Yeah, and when I get into the discussion, I think you would probably agree, when you're actually just informing people and helping them to understand what's going on, what they need, they call it sales, but it's really just helping people to become further educated.
It is, and Carter, it's funny you say it, because the people that we contact have already contacted the company. They've either called in off of a commercial on TV, they've emailed the company to the website, or they've sent a card back from a letter that they received wanting to know how much and do I qualify. And our job is to go see them or call them and take care of that.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a short segment. We're going to continue the interview. For those that are watching right now, watch the rest of the entire interview on our YouTube channel. We're going to give a copy to Ed for his purposes so he can put it out there too, all over the place, because this is really important information that people need to know. So stay tuned for the rest of this interview as we continue here, but don't be afraid to check out the full interview, because Ed had such valuable information. I said, we only have a certain period of time. We got to fit everybody in on a 28-minute and 30-second show, but you've got so much stuff here I think people need to know about that we want to cover all of that.